Hello and welcome to this review of the Ausgeknipst battery pack, which is suitable for Series 70 Metz digital flash guns. This is a 76 MZ5. I've had this for a number of years. It was a £500 flash gun. It was worth every penny. It still is one of the best flash guns I've ever used. Sadly, it's been in a box for the last 2 years, thanks to the one bad part of the flash gun, which was the original battery. Now this actually is the second battery. First battery I got out of the box charged for 10 minutes. I knew that wasn't right, so I took it straight back and I was given a second one by my retailer, and that one charged for all of 10 minutes as well. So over the years I've had to have a complete workaround to get a full afternoon shoot out of this one battery. It's not been the least bit reliable, I'm sad to say, and now one of the battery cells has either died or the memory function within the charging process has gone up the swanny, because I can only charge this battery now for about 30 seconds. So it's now just completely useless to me, which means no more Metz flash gun. Now I could have tried to source a Metz P76, but if that runs out, I've got to hide behind a curtain and hope I get enough time to charge it up again. It's either that or have two P76 charging units. So I opted for this battery pack by Ausgeknipst, and it takes 7 rechargeable batteries. Now I know what some of you may be thinking: 7 rechargeable batteries ain't going to power a monster like this, plus the interface that goes with it. It does. It works a treat. And this battery pack has breathed new life into my favourite flash gun. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a closer look at it, see how it all goes together, and see how it attaches itself to the flash gun unit, and then we'll talk about performance as far as charge time is concerned afterwards. So here we go, let's have a closer look. Okay, so here we have the battery compartment. Now you'll see that Ausgeknipst have supplied a dummy battery, in this case coloured blue. There's space for 3 more rechargeable batteries on this side. You just simply flip over for the other 4. So there's 7 rechargeable batteries that you need to provide. The rechargeable batteries do not come with the kit. Don't try and recharge the dummy battery. I shouldn't really have to say that, but there's always one person that tries. Anyway, be that as it may, I'm now holding, you can now see the Ausgeknipst label. And the reason I'm going to hold this up close is that you can now see, I'm hoping you can see it, it may not be in focus. There we go. Just above my thumbnail here are 2 arrows. And those 2 arrows must be lined up with a part of the bracket on the flash gun, and it helps to coordinate getting this base unit onto the whole flash gun unit. So that's the base unit. That's what you get, and as I've said, it works fine. Now the unit has got 2 metal plates at the base, and they need to be in contact with the metal contacts at the bottom of the flash gun. You can, oh look, there you go, you can see both of them there at the bottom. You haven't got to worry about that too much, because the unit will only go in one way. Now I'm holding the flash gun where the strap is, putting my thumb on the top, pulling everything upwards to give me some nice clear room, and this just slots in nicely, but you can see it will only go in the one way. I can't get it in that way, can't get it in that way, so here we are. Put the contacts at the bottom and just loosely slide it in that way. Now the base is what keeps it all in nice and tightly, so don't worry that this is flapping around a little bit. Now Ausgeknipst themselves have said how difficult it is to get a design where the base fits nice and snugly, and it is in fairness, they themselves have said that this is a little bit more tricky to fit, but if we find those two arrows that I showed you earlier, line them up with the two bracket points there. Now the trick is, I would advocate practicing this without any battery pack at all to start with. Just practice getting it so that you can get the actual grain of the base unit in, and so you can just turn it and engage it nicely that way. It is easier without the battery pack, of course. The battery pack without batteries is the second phase, get used to that, and then the third phase is get used to it with batteries actually in the compartment. So it's quite easy then just to engage the thread and then twist it. And sometimes I find it easy just to sort of rock it upwards on that axis rather than putting pressure on and just pushing and pushing. Just push it upwards, try and get the thread engaged and then turn it. I'm going to try and come and do that a little closer because you can see what I'm doing. Lining up the arrows, push upwards a little bit and then just turn it. And that is all there is to it. I say that, but then I've had lots of practice. So what we'll do now is we'll do that again, and we'll put an empty battery compartment apart from the one dub battery. In she goes. Now this actually makes life a little more complicated because you've then got an extra width to worry about. So find the two arrows and just put a little pressure just so that we can get the thread, and in she goes. We'll now try and do that with a full battery pack. Now a word on batteries. These batteries that I'm using are clearly the EBL batteries, and they are rated at 2800 mAh. Now I wouldn't advocate using anything less than 2000, particularly if you've got the 76MZ5 flash gun, because as I said earlier, that's got the main reflector to power, a secondary reflector, which is why this flash gun is so good. It's got to power that as well, and of course it has to power the secondary unit, which gives you digital information as you're using the flash gun. So 2000, I believe, should be the minimum. I'm using 2800, and that is quite sufficient power. We only need 7 of them, so let's get the unit loaded up straight away. Okay, so here we have the battery compartment with 3 batteries loaded. Very simple and straightforward. You've got the spring-loaded negative side contact. I always put those, line the batteries up with those, then squeeze it upwards. There we go. Very straightforward, easy to load. And that's it. That's all there is to it. 7 batteries with the 1 dud unit. What we're now going to do is to show you how to fit that nicely into the unit of the Metz flash gun. Right, so we have a full battery pack. Now this is a little tricky, but it's not impossible, and with a little practice you'll soon become very adept at it. But I've suggested practicing without a full battery pack in the way that I've shown you, because then that way all becomes fairly clear. Now I've got my 2 arrows lined up with the bracket, and it really is just a question now of pushing upwards and engaging the unit. I'm going to do that again. Line up the 2 batteries, line up the 2 arrows and just ease the thread in and twist. And I'm actually doing that sitting slightly awkwardly behind the camera, so it really isn't a lot of force needed, but I do recommend just a slight tilting force. We'll do a third time. Engage the arrows and then just ease it upwards a little bit, and round she goes. And now you've got fully fledged Metz flash gun. There it is with the batteries inserted. I'm going to zoom out now a little bit. Whoops, let's try that again. And you can now see what the flash gun will look like. with the whole unit assembled. Right, so here's the fully assembled Metz flash unit. We have the secondary unit here, which gives all the digital detail, as those of us who've used the 76 MSO5 will know. So straight away we'll just turn it on. Instant power, boots up nicely, and now you'll notice, and again it's slightly alarming, but I did speak to the guys at Ausgeknipst and they were very supportive and helpful over this. You'll have a continuously flashing yellow light on the main unit. That is potentially due to the fact that the Metz gun realises that we haven't got a Metz battery in there and it thinks it's about to run out of power. That in itself is not an issue, as I will explain a little later. You can see there the, let's just come around a little bit, you can see there's the full digital display being powered and the flash is good to go. So there we are. That's the unit assembled, it's powered up and it is ready to go. So here we are then with a fully assembled camera with flash gun unit attached, full battery pack. You're going to do a bounce shot, single shot. I'm going to point it away from the camera so you don't get dazzled. There we go. Both units working just fine. We'll try and do a burst mode. There we go, just a couple of shots there. So again, it works perfectly all right with burst mode and single shot mode. Now you will find, as well as the yellow flashing light that I showed you earlier, you'll see sometimes you will see a low battery indicator flashing in here as well. Again, that's nothing to be concerned of. It's far more problematic to sort out the mechanics of the flash gun to recognise a third-party battery than not have a battery in there at all. So that's totally livable with. You get full information, you've got full manual control of the interface here, providing your camera allows you to do it. So as far as I'm concerned, the flash gun is working as normally as it would have done with a original fully working, which I never had, Metz battery. Longevity, I spent 2.5 to 3 hours, as you do, just doing continuous shots, some single, some continuous, and I got to 350 shots and I stopped because I needed a cup of tea for a start. The battery showed no, or the battery pack I should say, showed no signs of giving up. So I can't definitively say how many shots you'd have, but 350 is pretty good going. And like I've said earlier, if you were to run out of juice, you simply need another set of 7 nickel metal hydrides and you're good to go again pretty instantly, which is why I favoured this sort of unit more than a P76. So I'm hoping that I can allay any fears that 7 rechargeable batteries are perfectly adequate to charge the unit, providing you get a decent rating on the batteries. As I said, mine are at 2800 mAh rating. 2000, I would say earlier, would be the minimum I'd recommend. So there we have it, a fully working Metz digital flash unit, thanks to the Ausgeknipst new battery pack, which again I can thoroughly recommend. It works just fine. Now, a word about the sellers, Ausgeknipst. They are available, this unit is available via eBay. It's available as a brand new item. Now, Ausgeknipst, they're in Germany. If memory serves, I think they're in Würzburg. I had a number of questions before purchase, and they were always very prompt in replying to those questions. Email was the preferred choice of contact, and I never had anything more than a day's delay between my queries and questions and their responses. I believe they're quite passionate about what they do, and they have certainly identified customers like myself who have a perfectly usable Metz flash gun which doesn't have a working battery unit. And so with that in mind, this very it looks straightforward, but I suspect it's been incredibly difficult to design due to the idiosyncrasies of the actual Metz flash gun itself, getting it to fit and so on. So they've done a remarkable job. And eBay, well, some people like eBay, some people hate it, but in this instance you have a seller here who is reliable, who do what they say they're going to do. They actually ship the units, I believe, on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays once you've ordered, and it took around about a week to arrive after I'd ordered it. So not only can I recommend the unit for the flash gun, but I can heartily recommend the company behind it who produced this battery pack, enabling me to use this fantastic flash gun once again. Well, now that's the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching, and any queries about the unit at all, your first point of contact should always be with Ausgeknipst, but I'm happy to answer any queries you may put in the comment section as well. Thank you again.